I'm 32 years old and name is Tiana Robert. It has been really difficult to live with my in-laws for the past 10 years, especially with my mother-in-law. The years have combined to create a complicated web of obligation, annoyance, and a never-ending struggle to preserve my individuality in an environment that frequently feels oppressive. I had big plans and dreams of starting a family with Max when we were married. In a perfect world, everyone would be helpful and friendly to one another. I had no clue that this trip would place me in a position where others would constantly be evaluating my worth and observing everything I did. Max is a wonderful man, but our marriage has suffered unintentionally as a result of his intense emotional relationship to his mother. It was obvious from the beginning that my wife's mother's word was definitive in our home. She likes to be in control, especially when it comes to others she perceives as weaker or more prone to harm. She has a history of unpredictable behavior. She started verbally assaulting me right once, and as time went on, it grew worse and became a frequent event in my life. At first, I tried to ignore her behavior and told myself there were advantages to having a mixed family. I diligently followed her instructions, making every effort to maintain order, in the hopes that in exchange for my compliance, I might eventually earn her respect, or at the very least some peace. Rather, it appeared like my allegiance to her gave her more power, as though I were vulnerable and might be used against her. Max was serious when he instructed me to do what Mom says, but he repeated himself a lot. Either he didn't see the hurt this did to me, or he was oblivious to it. Max's mother was skilled at deceiving others and portraying herself as the victim, so he was always by her side, possibly out of regret or love. I felt alone in my marriage because I felt like I was stuck in a place where the voices of those around me were louder and more demanding than mine. My mother-in-law's already erratic temperament seemed to get worse as her physical condition started to decline over time. I dressed and fed her, did all I could to help her, but instead of being thanked for all the care I provided, I received criticism. When she started verbally berating me for what she saw as the tiniest perceived faults, the abuse escalated. She started to blame me for all of her grievances, saying that no matter how hard I worked, nothing would ever be good enough. Things took a really bad turn around 5 years ago. Her unpredictable demeanor turned violent. She used to openly berate me in front of everyone, calling me lazy, inept, and unworthy of the family. No one else appeared to comprehend the profound pains her comments caused, tears that were tangible and palpable. I thought Max would be able to relate to how much it was hurting me, so I tried talking to him about it, but he never appeared to take it seriously. Even though he would tell me he would chat to her and nod absently, nothing ever changed. I had the impression that my words were being devoured by his apathy and that my cries were being ignored. Despite how alone I felt at the time, I persisted because I felt compelled to, and because I had a ray of hope that things would improve. Then my mother-in-law gave me a surprise one day. She revealed that Jessica would be staying in the same room as us without warning. I had never heard of this woman before, so I was taken aback when she suddenly appeared. Who was she? What was the reason behind her living with us? And why had no one asked me what I thought about it? Max said nothing about it, as usual. He dismissed it with the same expression of astonishment that I did, assuming his mother had most likely invited an old acquaintance to stop over for a little while. Nevertheless, I was aware of this. This was no casual visitor. This was just my mother-in-law's attempt to exert control over us. Jessica made it obvious when she arrived that she would be a frequent visitor. She was a younger woman about my age, and I could feel my teeth clenching from her confident, even snobbish, demeanor. I was reduced to the position of servant, while my mother-in-law showered her with affection and cared for her like a queen. Jessica seemed to be taking on my role in the family and stepping in where my mother-in-law had thought I had failed. The next several days was some of the worst I've ever experienced. Jessica took over my responsibilities right away and integrated herself into every aspect of our lives, truly feeling at home. Like my mother-in-law, she was very judgmental of me and would constantly find something to be wrong. She would make sure I know if she wasn't fond of the food. She would make sure my mother-in-law heard her harsh remarks if the house wasn't spotless. They united into an unholy alliance, with Jessica giving my mother-in-law a stage on which to criticize me and endorsing her unfavorable opinions of me. I felt far from the people I was supposed to be around, even at home. I had no option but to face the loneliness, even though I couldn't bear it. I told myself that my everyday presence made sense. I remained because I wanted to see us through this together, because of Max, and because of the love we had in the past. I stayed because we had made our family and made a lifelong commitment to one another. But that hope was undermined as time went on, and it seemed as though the abuse and contempt would never stop. What comforted me were the tiny things, like the quiet minutes I could spend in the yard and my quick conversations with people who weren't aware of the full nature of my problems. I tried to tell myself that I was strong, that I could manage this, and that I could somehow bring some order to this disorganized house. It was still quite difficult. The thing that hurt me the most was how much Jessica and my mother-in-law tried to minimize my significance. They lived to meet their every desire and treated me like a servant. They will never know the hardships I went through, the things I gave up, or the work I did to make our place seem like home. I was invisible to them, just a presence there to fulfill their needs. I nevertheless kept taking care of my family. Despite my inner suffering, I tried to maintain a smile on my face while I cooked, cleaned, and took care of them. I prayed for perseverance, fortitude, and wisdom to get through this. I thought that my efforts to create a loving, calm family were going to fail, despite my great desire. But I was unable to give up. I wouldn't give up. If I did, I knew I would change completely into someone else. I believed that things would get better eventually, so I persevered day after day. I had to give it my all for Max's sake, mine, and the life we decided to create together, even though I knew it wouldn't be simple. I realized that I would have to be the catalyst for change if I wanted things to change as the days grew into weeks and the weeks into months. Neither could I rely on Max to confront his mother, nor could I expect that my mother-in-law would suddenly see how ridiculous her actions were. I needed to take back my life, find my voice, and establish my position within this family. It was difficult, and I knew I had a difficult journey ahead of me. But I was determined to turn our house into a haven of respect, love, and tranquility, a place that honored my own needs, as well as my responsibilities as a wife and daughter-in-law. Consequently, bit by little, I started to protect myself in ways I had never done before. I placed boundaries because I want to be treated like a human being, not like a servant. My friends and family encouraged me to be happy and gave me confidence in my abilities, so I turned to them for support. The process moved slowly since the path was blocked, but I felt a little bit stronger and more in control after each little victory. I started to realize that I wasn't as alone as I had believed, and that there were individuals who genuinely cared about my growth. Things started to shift gradually. Max started to listen to my concerns when he saw how much his mother's behavior was impacting me. It was a beginning, not a quick fix, but a glimmer of optimism in what had previously looked to be a dismal circumstance. When Jessica did eventually move out, it was just a short-term inconvenience. The family started to settle after her left. I didn't have a fantastic connection with my mother-in-law anymore, but it wasn't unbearable either. I was aware that there would be many challenges and difficulties on the way, but I felt hopeful again for the first time in a very long time. Hope to construct the tranquil, devoted house of my dreams. Regaining my identity and achieving happiness according to my own standards was my aim. I prayed above all that I would have the strength to face whatever was ahead of me with love and optimism in my heart.